Hello friends, today's topic is Introduction to Operating System, in which the contents are what is operating system, its clear view. To understand it, we will have a look on computer system structure, then operating system's functions, that is what OS can do, its work, and lastly operating system's goal. So let's move on to our first slide. What is operating system? Basically, an operating system is a system software, which means it resides within a system. For example, system like computer, mobile phones, pagers or any other similar computing device, where it works as an intermediary between user and hardware. That means operating system provides medium for interaction between user and computer hardware. ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम एक प्रोग्राम होता है जो कि एक मीडियम प्रोवाइड करने का काम करता है आपके और कंप्यूटर सिस्टम के बीच में. ओके, नेक्स्ट, कंप्यूटर सिस्टम स्ट्रक्चर. So this is the computer system structure. It is also called as the four components of computer system, in which the four components are user, application program, operating system and computer hardware. First, there is a computer hardware on which operating system lies, and operating system provides the base so that application programs can be installed on it and can be arranged in a proper way so that user can use it. Okay, now the computer hardware. What is the computer hardware? Like central processing unit, CPU, RAM, the memory, input output devices like keyboard, mouse, scanner, printers, etc. And this hardware is used by the user for completing their task. For example, if you are using the text editor, the application if you are using for completing your task, for writing something, you will be using the computer hardware, isn't it? You will require the processor for execution. So directly or indirectly we use the computer hardware via application programs which lies on the operating system. Fine. Next, operating system functions. What operating system does? Operating system, why it is required? Because operating system works as a resource allocator. How resource allocator? If there are many users or many processes and they require the resource, what is resource? The hardware. If they require hardware, if they are asking for hardware, so to which process the hardware should be, that means that resource should be allocated and for how much time, this decision is taken by the operating system. If multiple users are there, so and if they are requesting for the similar process as for the similar resource, then that resource, to whom that resource to be allocated, this decision is done by the operating system, and that's why the operating system is said as the resource allocator. And it is very much important to have someone like operating system, to have operating system, because if operating system is not there, then every of the user might be only requesting, and if one user who is who has been using that resource from earlier onwards and not releasing it, then it would create the trouble for the completion of their work, isn't it? So there requires a manager to manage all this, and operating system works as a manager. That's why they are also called, operating system is also called resource manager. Next, process management. Process. If there are multiple processes, for example, on your system you have opened the text editor also, you have opened the VLC media player also. On the other hand, if you are using any of the game application also, that means multiple processes are opened. Now they require CPU, central processing unit, they require for the execution. Now this central processing unit to be allocated to each of the process for some of the time duration, and to whom to allocate it first and to whom to be allocated that CPU later on, this all decision is done by the operating system. Okay, and for this allocation, operating system uses the scheduling algorithm. How to schedule them? For this they use the CPU scheduling algorithms. CPU scheduling algorithm is again a different topic which we will see further. Fine. Next, storage management. Storage management means storage, as we are talking about the memory, we are talking here about the hard disk, that is the secondary memory, and the allocation otherwise to keep your data in permanently onto the hard disk, onto the secondary device. How to keep this data onto the hard disk, how to arrange it, this all is done by the operating system. Next, security. If you require that your system must be used by only the legitimate user, only legitimate user should be able to access the data, so you provide the password to your computer system, and that password if you provide, then that password is to be verified. That's verification. Otherwise, to verify, this task is done by the operating system. That's why we also says that operating system provides the security. This is also one of the function of the operating system. Fine. So these are some of the functions of operating system, like resource allocation, process management, storage management, and security. But not only this, there are many else functions of operating system. That is not that important, but this is the major functions. That's why we saw this one here. Next. Goals of operating system. What is the goal of operating system? Majorly, the operating system is used to execute user program. This is the main goal. Next, to make solving user problems easier. Next, to make the computer system convenient to use and to use the computer hardware in an efficient manner. That means to use the computer hardware like CPU, optimum use of CPU should be done. For that, the OS is responsible. That means the main goal of OS is also the optimum use of the hardware resources. Okay, so with this we saw the what is operating system, its goal, its functions, its overview, its structure, and with this we end the slide. Thank you.